So when somebody says something negative, you grow with it. It's not that you get annoyed about it. Yeah, you feel a little weird about it, but you can think about the things that people say they don't like about you. Because it's probably true.
I mean, depends on perspective, depends on where oftentimes I find that, like, it's a projection of their baggage. It doesn't apply across the board.
No.
But sometimes people just have, like, biases and, like, their own assumptions
all do,
about
right?
Yeah.
We all do. And when you and I talk, we have those ideas, right? What is it? We have of anyone, people of this community or that community or the religious groups or whatever they are. But I find people fascinating.
Me too.
I think human beings are just so absolutely fascinating.
That's it.
And they are so resilient. It's absolutely resilient. I visited the Boko Haram camps of displaced people in Nigeria. Absolutely nothing that they had. They were pulling grass from the ground, cutting the tips, cooking it and eating it. That's how bad they were. They had been displaced from their homes. And these women were laughing and they were making these noises and because they were so happy to see me.
Wow.
And so then I looked at them and I thought, and I was sitting on a tree trunk and they were sitting on the floor. And I thought, why am I sitting on a tree trunk? So I went and sat next to them on the floor. And they were first stunned to see me. And then we started talking. And then I had a little necklace, white necklace, a little pendant. So I took it out and gave it put it on this woman. And she was so happy. I probably made her day. But for me, she made my day because we shared the same ground. And we shared the same feel. We were women. We cared for our children.
Humans.
We were human beings.
That's right, human beings.
And it was a phenomenal trip.
Wow.
And over the years, at my age, I think humanity is the most important piece that we all need to hang on to for dear life. Nothing else matters.
And I want to come back to that.
Hello and welcome to Pushing Desi Culture, the podcast. My name is Sid Pandya and we are recording inside MediaWorks Studios in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. You guys are joining us midway through a fantastic conversation that I'm having with my guest today, Mrs. Aruna S. Koushik. She is the Commissioner for Human Rights and Mediation Services at the Windsor Regional Hospital, and she is the District Governor for the years 2021-22 at the Rotary International District 6400 and the US-Canada District. Welcome to the show, Arunaji.
Thank you, Sid.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
No problem. Thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to come in and share some of your experience. So before I talk about your current role and your fantastic adventures at different spots across the world, I want to start right at the beginning. Okay. What's your story as an immigrant?
My story is very much like any other immigrant families, right? Immigrants are very resilient. My husband, Sadashiv, me, and my two kids, Nikhil and Manasi, we landed in 82, July 31st. I remember that day so well because
Canada
we had
Day.
4 kids.
Yeah.
We had 2 kids and the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And we had $60 in our pocket.
Wow.
We landed in Toronto with 6 suitcases. 5 of them contained groceries because we had no clue about Toronto, right?
Of course.
And we met a family who were distant relatives and they took us home. And they were incredible. Wow. They were absolutely incredible. They guided us, mentored us through settlement. And then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Now, I mean, for those who may not know, 1982, right. 60 Canadian dollars, that's probably a substantial amount of money for that time.
Sort of, but not really because you didn't have a place to go, a home to stay. We thought we'll just land in Toronto, we'll figure it out. You know?
It's like, jumping off the cliff and you're making the plane on the way down.
Talk of skydive. We skydove a couple of times.
Yeah. And especially back in that time when, even telephones were not that common.
No.
So,
and we were in the middle of recession. Canada was in the middle of recession. And I remember my husband being a general manager when he left his company in India. I was an account executive in an advertising firm. And we came here and he became a security guard within a month. And I became a Red Cross homemaker.
Wow.
Which was a totally different concept.
Career change.
Oh, it wasn't a career.
it was just meeting a lot of people. And for me, it was helping those who were frail, who were not well, who needed to be taken care of. And I learned so much in that 6 months, because after that, I got a job as a social worker, which is my background, by the way. I'm a Tata Institute social worker.
Correct.
So I got that job, and he got a job as an engineer in Windsor, because he's a metallurgical engineer. He's from IIT Bombay. So, and then we came to Windsor in 85, and I joined the Human Rights Commission 8 months after I started my agency in Windsor, and then I continued on.
So that's part of the journey where you start and then eventually start breaking through glass ceilings as a well-respected female person of color who's contributing to the community. So I want to ask you about your current role as the commissioner for the Human Rights and Mediation Services at the Windsor Regional Hospital. You've held this position since 1985?
No, I've held this position since 2000.
Oh, I see.
Before that, I was with the Ontario Human Rights Commission.
Gotcha.
I was with the province.
I see.
And I was there for about 16 years.
Okay.
And I dealt with discrimination cases of race, color, sexual harassment, handicap, age, all of that. And at that time, I had to actually get the persona. I was an officer. I was not a woman. I was not a man. I was Officer Koushik, because that identified for people, employers in the area, service providers, that you were a person of authority. And it didn't matter what the case was in front of you. You looked at what was correct, what was the law, and how you adjudicated it. And you looked at evidence. It's not just hearsay evidence, it's documents and witness statements and all of that. And that gave me that perspective of being fair, equitable, honest, integrity, all the things that we talk about, but we try and figure out how do you apply it. But the commission gave me that ability to do that. And it also trained me in mediation. So
I got my timeline straight now. So 1985, you start with the Ontario Commission, and then in 2000, you move up to the Windsor Regional Hospital. But in between, now this is a different time that we're talking about, a different climate. What did you find was people's reaction to you as a social worker, like in your role?
In my role?
Yeah.
Pretty much positive. People have been, in fact, I would say that some of the challenges I've had have been within my own community in some ways, because as a role, as a woman, seeing yourself as a woman in authority, and then seeing yourself as a woman who's a woman or a wife, those roles were confusing for individuals. But you maneuver those roles. You maneuver all of that with the community. I have been very, very fortunate in that I've had wonderful mentors. The late Justice Edward Duchamp was one of my closest friends, and the lawyer Frank Montello, and a few others, Mary Jean Gallagher, who were always very supportive. And that's where I learned it's really important to respect people for who they are. Not because of their color, not because of their gender, not because of their age, but because of who they are, what creativity they bring to the workplace, right? And my present boss, who's David Mouche, who's the CEO, was the one who connected with me and said, I'd like you on my team. So the Office of Mediation that we set up to help employees resolve conflicts was a brainchild between him and me, that we said, let's do it. Let's do it as a pilot project, and let's see how it goes. Windsor Regional Hospital is extremely lucky to have wonderful leadership. Plus, my involvement with the Multicultural Council has helped me help immigrants.
I was just going to ask you that. In between, though, I think the connecting way, and I think your introduction, any introduction of yourself is incomplete without a specific mention, an explicit mention about the role that you have played as a teacher over the past 35 years with the Nupur Jhankar Dance School, which is, I guess, the bridge where you got connected with the Multicultural Council.
Right.
So for those who don't know, if you want to please tell us.
Well, we are all composites of our culture and our heritage and our education, etc. The Multicultural Council was the agency that sponsored the Southeast Asian Center, which was the agency that I started. And it was not altruistic. It was an agency I started because I needed a job, right? So when I came to Windsor, that's the agency I wrote the project to. Still remember the lady who helped me, Sue Kelch. And MCC came forward and said, we'll sponsor it. Along with that, I started dance class because I'm a trained classical Bharat Natyam dancer.
Wow.
So I have been dancing ever since I was 5. And I had a daughter and I wanted to impart it to her and a few other girls. And now my class has been established for 35 plus years.
Wow.
And it pulls me back to my heritage, to my roots, to the principles of Hinduism, to the principles of my religion, to the principles of what discipline should be and what dedication should be. And I figured it's a great way of sharing that with any of the kids who want to learn from this community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very blessed. All my girls are all, there are waves of girls that come and they grow and they graduate in dance class.
Yes.
And Multicultural in the MCC with Kathleen Thomas, who's a very dear friend, gave me that opportunity to share my culture with the rest of the community in Windsor, which is Polish, Scottish, Irish, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have great friends in all those communities.
Awesome.
And sharing a culture like you're doing, Desi culture, right?
Pushing the culture. That's it. Promoting different aspects.
Promoting the aspects of that culture. Promoting classical Indian dancing through Nupur Jhankar, through MCC, into the community at large. Is a nice mosaic for me in my life, because that is my mental, stress release. And then doing my human rights work and my hospital, helping people work better. It's a really nice combination of things. It's like the rotary wheel. As you turn, you have these different facets of life that you go through and you try and weave that into your day-to-day activities.
And I think that was my first introduction. You may not remember this, but that was my personally first introduction to you and the dance school. I remember volunteering with the MCC at one of the carousels. I want to say it was 08, 09.
Oh, wow.
This was when we still... I'm dating myself here too by saying that. But, and this was when they had not built the new city hall either. So it was still in front of the compound there.
Right.
Across from the casino.
Right.
Where the new city hall and the grounds are exactly. Yeah. So that was my first. So I thought that was pretty cool because as having moved to Canada in 2006, it was, you would see it in bits and bots here and there. There was not like, there's a very small community and they would come out to events and that's it. That would be your exchange with the culture, so to speak, with your own community, I mean. So I thought it was a fantastic initiative to have started now Bharat Natyam. It's South Indian classical dance.
It's South Indian classical dancing, specifically from Chennai. Mm-hmm. Chennai, Tanjavur, the South
Tamil
Nadu area, right? And mine is a combination of in Bharatanatyam, you have 3 or 4 styles, which is Tanjavur, Pandanallur, Kalakshetra. I'm a combination of Tanjavur and Kalakshetra, the 2 styles, and I'm very strict. And it's beautiful. When you look at traditional, classical, anything, Western, Indian, whatever, you can feel it. It's timeless. And you can feel that strain. You can feel it connect to your soul every time. Don't get me started. I can go on and on about classical dancing.
No, I really enjoyed myself, and
Good.
I remember seeing some attending some Arangetrams. Now your passion for classical dance is obvious, and you're just as passionately involved with Rotary International
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. In 2000, I think it was 2000 through 2001, I got involved with with the Rotary Club of Windsor Roseland, and realized that this was a calling for me, not because of the name, but because of the basic sense of service above self. That
Mhm.
you do a service to people, to humanity, and you forget about it. And around 2007, I became president. And in that journey, I made everybody in my club became family. They're not my Rotary friends, they're my family. To an extent that anything we wanted, we'd do for each other. And then Shiva and me, we got involved with polio eradication.
Mhm.
So many of us go through life thinking, I want to make a difference in the world. I want to change a person's life, but you're never really sure that you've done that. With Rotary, we have. Because we have gone to places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nigeria. We've gone to all those places. We drop 2 drops in the mouth of a child, and the child is free from polio for life. Now, that's incredible.
Mhm.
That's absolutely incredible. And so we are passionate about polio. I'm also passionate about the service projects. So recently in Tirutani, we established a medical center, and then we put in a bore well so 2,500 families could get water
From the ground.
from the ground.
Bore it.
And women kept coming to us, family members kept coming and thanking us, because that part of India gets so hot
Mhm.
in the summer, they literally starve for water. We've done check dams in Rajasthan, and there's so much work going on in the world that Rotarians are involved with, and they share that joy, they share that happiness, they share that you touch people's lives.
You know what I really like. I mean, this is awesome work, but what I specifically really like, one thing if I had to pinpoint, was how what the work is generational. It's the changes will be felt across the generations. It's
Right.
not just one person or one family whose life will be changed by building infrastructures like check dams
Right.
or by polio eradication drives. You know, you are creating helping create contributing citizens.
And it's not just international, even locally. When we talk of COVID, right?
Mhm.
We had COVID. Everybody was trying to figure out. What I did was connect with people in the community, like Shrenik Parekh, Arvind Jain, Nishita Sharma, Indo-Canada Gujarati Samaj was fantastic. Khalsa Aid, all of them, and said, can you provide food for frontline staff? Yes, Auntie will do that. Okay.
Done.
So let's organize food deliveries. And all I did was coordinate the food deliveries, and everybody jumped in. And we had individual packages of food delivered to frontline staff. They would they'd call me up, they'll say, okay, Aruna, where are we going today? Can you tell us what day and what time? Are we doing lunch and dinner? How many packets? KFC. Jason Kurlik was phenomenal. Swiss Chalet was phenomenal. There was no confusion. And none of them, not one of them, said, could you please give us a certificate, or could you give us any record?
No,
None of them they were like, let's do this.
just do it.
We had 4,000 cutlery pieces wrapped.
Wow.
So staff could get free, they
Correct.
could get cutlery.
Correct.
My husband did 4,000 tea bags individually. So, when they say the going gets tough, the tough get going,
That's right.
that's what happened. This was a perfect example
Mhm.
of how the community came together
Mhm.
and supported the work of frontline work.
Really galvanized around
Yes,
them.
absolutely. We live in that sort of society that in Windsor, Essex, we are supportive of each other.
Mhm.
We don't worry about. We had the Miracle 27.
Correct.
I mean, look at the amount of food we
June
collected.
27,
June
Miracle.
27.
Correct.
And look at the amount of food we collected.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is giving.
Hmm.
I personally believe, do things. Don't wait for any results.
Mm.
Don't wait for, what are you going to get out of it? I mean, really, what am I going to do with any award, anything else? But if I meet somebody like you and you say, hey, Aruna, I saw you somewhere. I really liked what you said. That makes my day, right? And that's the key for anything we as Rotarians do, or any of us do, right? Look at you. You're sitting here early in the morning, yapping with me. Why are you yapping with me? I mean, what is it that I have to offer, right?
Experience.
Yeah, that's about it.
No, that's huge. It's worth its weight in gold, if I may. I'm not, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or anything, but that's a big part. That's a big part of this show and a big part of this podcast. We want to highlight community leaders like yourself and, the great work that is being done in the community, not just professionally.
We are an integral, I think for South Asians, we are a very integral part of our mosaic today because we contribute. Recently, the Gujarati Samaj raised funds through a music program.
Correct.
I donated to the Windsor Regional Hospital. Shrenik is a very dear friend of mine. And the conversations we will have with Yash Dolakia and all of them is, all right, how do we do this? Oh, how do we get this involved? Padmaja Naidu came towards the end and she said, I had no idea. I want to join in. Like there are people who will connect with you and you think, okay, I can do this. How do you do this? That energy starts, the energy that we as South Asians provide to our community.
Definitely.
Never focus on the negative.
No.
Never, because there are always going to be somebody who's going to be negative.
Yes.
And you just look at them and go, I feel bad for you, right? Honestly, I mean, you want to feel this negative about something. I mean, people ask me, how do you deal with racism? Have I had racist comments? Sure.
Of course.
Sure. But then I look at them and I go, yeah, there's no experience there.
Just water off your back.
There's no experience, right? So immigrants are just like the water. There's a running water. What does the water do in a stream? It goes around rocks. So all these negative influences are these rocks. You just flow around them and they, okay, keep moving.
Resilience, yeah. That's a big part.
That's it. That is.
We've, in some of our previous episodes, I remember talking to some of our previous guests about a lot of this work that you are talking about, So I want to specifically for this episode, considering it is so timely, we are recording in the month of October.
Right.
And this is dedicated to by Rotary for polio eradication across the world.
Absolutely.
And there's different ways of fundraising that's ongoing.
Right.
And that's why you're also wearing the color purple.
I'm wearing color, you're wearing purple too. And we didn't even coordinate, right?
No.
So
great minds think alike.
Yeah, I agree. Rotary made a promise to the children of the world to eradicate polio. Has it kept its promise? Yes. 99.9% of the world is polio free. As of August this year, the whole African continent was polio free. We have 2 countries left, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and they will both do it. We will ensure that they do it. I just saw an article yesterday that the Afghani leaders have agreed that they will eradicate polio.
That's amazing. For those who don't know, polio is not something that it's incurable. It's a lifelong disease.
Yes.
And that's why when I talk about the generational change, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a viral borne disease.
I think
it's a viral borne disease.
It's through the feces. And so it's so important for sanitary. So everything is connected, right? So you go to these worlds, there's different countries, you want to ensure sanitary conditions. You want to ensure hygiene. You want to ensure good water, clean water. Clean water is so, so important. You want to ensure all of that. But with the vaccine, we have polio. Now think about this. We are in the middle of COVID pandemic. We already have a polio infrastructure. We have Rotarians, we have this World Health Organization, the Bill Gates Foundation, Rotary International. We have all got this CDC, have all got together. We have created this blanket infrastructure across the world. Imagine we need a vaccine to be distributed for COVID. And if we are asked as Rotarians, we will pivot.
Exactly. The supply chain's ready.
The whole distribution, everything else, Rotarians will turn on a dime and they will do it. And why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That's right.
And not just it, we are ready for any challenge because we are friends. We connect on that level. We share humanity.
We are fellow human beings.
Exactly.
And on the note of challenges, I want to bring it back home. What is your message to the South Asian youth? What are your aspirations for them, considering, especially in the current climate, they're being bombarded with different messages. Sometimes they're maybe not well equipped to see what's the good from the bad. What do you tell them? What do you share with them?
Your parents, South Asian youth, the parents have given them the opportunity to educate themselves, think, be in a country like Canada or the US that provides unlimited door or opportunity and opens doors. Work hard. Once you've attained a particular level of education, you've also developed logic. You've also developed a certain thought process and your own experiences, not your parents' experiences, but your own experiences. Marry that with your parents' experiences. And it's like sifting wheat. You take the husk out and you get the wheat, right? We all have baggage. We are not perfect. As parents, we are not perfect. So sometimes we like to share our baggage. I think you have got to recognize that. Not that you don't love us anymore, but you recognize that we also bring baggage to the table. So you then start thinking logically, emotionally, keep your humanity at the center of everything else, and think it through. You have the capacity to think it through. Be truthful. In Rotary, we have, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's the 4-way test for Rotarians. So anything that you do, if you apply that 4-way test, it'll give you the answer. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? The decision you make. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it beneficial to all concerned? If you can answer all of those correctly and you get the answer yes, go for it. People who love you will love you regardless of what you do. Your parents will always be in your corner. Your mothers will always be in your corner. We are women. We are mothers, but we are also women first. We are strong women. So we will be in your corner all times. But think things through. Don't do it just because of emotions. Don't do it just because of you think, you know better. Think it through logically. I think South Asian youth are our future. I think they're brilliant. They bring tremendous knowledge to the table. They can teach us. I know my son teaches me electronics all the time. My oldest son, Nikhil, explains autism to me because he's a clinical neuropsychologist. My daughter is an environmental engineer, and she will tell me about the latest codes and the government policy changes, etc. They have knowledge. I don't have that. So it's a nice marriage between both of us, right? In terms of the knowledge base and how we approach things. I think you guys are great. I think it's so exciting to be here.
I think a lot of it, like you said earlier on in the episode, it is a great deal to do with the mentors and the people that you surround yourself with, the positive role models. And it's so important to have the right people so that you can you're able to make the right decisions.
And you know what? Never be afraid of making mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, how are you going to learn? We have all made mistakes. Trust me. We have all made mistakes. But we have learned from our mistakes. And some mistakes we have not learned from. But true, not everything we have learned from, but we have all made mistakes. So, continue on.
That's it.
And if you made a mistake, don't be scared of it. Face it.
It's like I like to think about it, it comes down to the intentions. As long as your
Yeah.
intentions are pure, intentions are good,
Yeah.
then the results sometimes may or may not work out in your favor.
Yeah.
But you are going to put in your hard work
Mhm.
and your dedication regardless, and hopefully the results will then maybe do work out in your favor.
Yeah.
And with this podcast, that's it's documenting history in a way for us. I
Yeah.
want to showcase people like yourself who have been here much before I came along, and my family and friends and everyone came along. And there's so much to learn from the experiences and so much to share with yourself. And thank you so much. for
You're
coming
very
out.
welcome. You're very welcome. I really enjoyed this interview. Thank you.
No, so did I. So did I. It's lovely talking to you. And for more great content, please make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff to MediaWorks Studios on all your favorite social media platform. We are everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, what have you. I will be back with another episode of Pushing Desi Culture, the podcast, very soon. Till then, please take care, stay safe. Bye for now.